Okay, let's take a look at this quarantine notification I received from Barracuda Networks, the email gateway defense. You'll get messages like this on a regular basis, and it's letting you know that Barracuda has identified one or more email messages that need you to take a closer look at it. Now, if you can guess right from the subject what action you want, you can go ahead and click on those actions right in the email message. Or if you want to take a closer look at the message before deciding what to do, you can click on the button View Message Log. Let's go ahead and do that. When you log in to Barracuda, if you have not been in here before or if it's been a while, you're going to be asked for your email address. Depending on how your permissions are set up, you may be directed to the Microsoft Authenticator. Go ahead and enter your Microsoft password and sign in. Okay, now we're looking at the message log for the email gateway defense from Barracuda. It's really divided into two sections. The top part lets me go through and choose what I'm seeing in the bottom part, which are the actual messages. I can choose a date preset. How far back do I want to take a look at my messages? I can choose what action that I want to look at. Now the actions are what Barracuda has done already to my messages. So right now the default is I'm looking at the messages that have been quarantined. I can choose any message and I'm able to see all messages that have gone through to that have been processed by Barracuda. I can see those that were allowed or blocked. Blocked messages are ones that I previously have marked as being blocked that I don't want to hear from. Deferred are a little in the gray area, which is why I think the color over here is gray. These are messages that may have made it through your inbox. Actually, they probably have made it through to your inbox, but sometimes they get stuck either at your server, Barracuda's server, or at the originating server while Barracuda is processing the message. That's okay to see deferred. Usually you don't have to do anything about it, but I do want to point out that it's there because I have heard that people say that they've seen important messages get stuck here. But we're going to be working on the quarantined message. Okay, here's that original message that I got from Brody Alexander. I wasn't sure if this is somebody I really want to talk to or not. So I'm going to click on the message and it's going to let me know first off why it was put in quarantine. In this case, it's because of a geo-IP policy. So it's not from a country that I normally do business with, so it's assumed that it might be something I want to take a closer look at in the quarantine instead of automatically delivered. It then lets me preview the message down below, which I really kind of like because it lets me know if it's a message I really want or not. If this is a message I want, I can tell it to deliver the message. Click on the little paper airplane, and it's going to ask me if I want to deliver the message or to deliver the message and add the sender to my allow list so any future messages from this person will be delivered. This will make sure I will always get the message from this person. In this case, I really don't want to talk to Brody, so I'm going to close that. I can delete the message by clicking on the trash can, or if I click on the three dots, I have more actions. I can download the message to my desktop. I can add the sender email to my block list, or I can add the sender domain to the block list. What that means is if I chose to delete the sender or add the sender email to the block list, I wouldn't have to hear from Brody at techdots.us anymore. If I chose to add sender domain to the block list, I wouldn't hear from anybody at techdots anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and tell it to add it to the block list, and it's let me know that that has been added to the block list. Now in this case, we see it's added something else from Salesforce to the block list. That you can tell is an automated message, and you may still end up getting messages from this person. It doesn't always perfect it, but at least we know these messages will be added to our quarantine so that we can go through and take a look at it if they do get in here. To close this message, I can just click on the X. Now I'm back to looking at all the messages. One thing that you might want to look at if you get a lot of messages, click on the refresh button when you're in here. If you have any new messages that have come through while you've been signed in, those will show up then. And as I mentioned before, if you know you want to work with multiple messages at a time, like I have from Brody here, I can go through and have those same options that we had to deliver or to delete the message right from here. Okay, that's the overview of your message log feature in Barracuda Email Protection Email Gateway Defense. In our previous video, we went through and looked at the message log for the Barracuda Email Gateway Defense. Now let's take a look at the other option in here to manage the quarantine. Here we are in the quarantine settings for the Email Gateway Defense by Barracuda. This is really the same place we logged into before. If we go up to the menu in the upper left corner, we're able to get back to the message log where we spent time on the other video. But now we're going into the settings. The first settings you get to change is when you get that quarantine notification. By default, it's probably only going to deliver it once a day. And you can see here that mine is going to deliver between 6 and 7 a.m. Monday through Sunday. Well, I found out that I need to have another check of these messages before I end the day. It's nice having them there at the beginning of the day, but there are times where I want to make sure I'm able to work on the message before I leave for home. So I'm going to have another one set for Monday through Friday to deliver the notifications between 2 and 3 p.m. and click Save. This makes it much easier to get 2 notifications each day for me. That way I can make sure that nothing's getting left in my spam notification at the end of the day, as well as starting off my day with those. Clicking on Sender Policy lets me see who I have blocked. You can go through and add senders directly by typing in either their email address or the domain. If there is a domain that I want to keep, I can type an asterisk, the @sign, and then the domain name. And I can choose what policy I want. Do I want to always block it, exempt it, or always quarantine that message? If I want to put in a comment, I can do that. And then I click Add, and it will then add that policy to my list. So I'm going to exempt it and click Add. Now, any new messages from that domain will go through. That by putting the asterisks in there, that exempts all users from that domain.